Brooks Giroux is here now with what we've learned about this small cancer cluster. Brooks?
Alameda County has been put on notice since last September, and since then, new diagnosis, new workers' comp claims, and new demands have been made to ensure hundreds of employees are safe in the workplace.
The entire house is surrounded.
They put their lives in danger to protect and serve.
Anything with a gun or weapon usually gets me a little amped.
For Alameda County Deputy Nicholas Salcido, it was a dream come true.
That's very rewarding.
Until something unexpected happened.
Felt a lump on my testicle, just out of the blue.
The healthy 33-year-old was diagnosed 3 years ago with testicular cancer. The cause is still a mystery.
Probably the scariest moment of my life because I've never dealt with any type of cancer in my family, really. So when I heard cancer, I immediately thought, I'm going to die.
It's not the way most officers think of passing. He was assigned here, the Eden Township substation in San Leandro. Records show the 1940s building contains asbestos. If fibers become airborne, they are shown to cause cancer.
I would prefer not to work in a building with asbestos, but at the same time, I have a job to do, and I have to push through.
That he did, going through radiation, then surgery to remove the lump. But 6 months after his diagnosis, another deputy found out he too had testicular cancer, and then a third, all of them working at the same place.
It kills me when I see my friends come up to me and they go, hey, this is what I got. It's very similar to what you have. Can you give me some advice?
Some of those deputies let their union know they were worried the building could be to blame.
They're afraid to go to work, you know, and I don't blame them.
Senior attorney Stephen Welty represents those deputies. Right now, there are 5 confirmed cases of cancer, 4 of them testicular cancer.
That's just a concerning number to me, and I don't even work there.
2 investigates obtained this letter sent to the undersheriff last September. It calls for the county to lay out steps taken to make sure the building is safe. It also demands a comprehensive, independent inspection.
We want them to test the walls, test the floor, test the air, test the water.
County Council declined to retest, instead standing behind its annual safety inspections, explaining anytime there's construction, precautions are taken to properly abate asbestos and monitor the air.
This is the briefing room. We got a holding cell here. Report writing.
2 investigates found in the last decade there have been 8 construction projects here. The county says it hired licensed specialized abatement contractors and an industrial hygienist to test air, both during and after construction.
How confident are you that the building may have played a role?
It's kind of the only common denominator, in my opinion.
So we went to the UCSF Medical Center to speak with clinical professor of medicine, Robert Harrison.
I've probably seen every type of occupational and environmental problem.
He says the same type of cancer showing up in the same type of patient can be a red flag.
It is not unusual to see what are called cancer clusters.
But Harrison says asbestos exposure usually takes decades to develop into cancer. And given the shorter time the diagnosed deputies have worked at the substation, it's not the likely culprit. And testicular cancer is not typically linked to asbestos exposure.
Could there be something else in the building that could have contributed to these guys coming down with cancer?
Well, of course, it depends on how long they worked in the building and where within the building and whether there was an opportunity for exposure.
Dr. Harrison says outside factors like air intakes and the ventilation system should be checked first. Secondly, making sure there are no chemicals from carpets, paints, or furniture getting into the air inside.
I do think it's important to investigate whether there's a common source of exposure.
Alarmed, the union filed an OSHA complaint in December. In it, we found details of deputies walking around with pocket radiation monitors, several of them going off inside the substation, causing a growing panic.
It's kind of out of hand. I mean, it's getting ridiculous.
Either give it a clean bill of health or figure out if it's causing cancer.
Attorney Welty says with medical records private, it's tough to know if there are more cases of cancer.
We know of 5. It could be 10, it could be 20. We have no idea what the numbers are.
Several have filed workers' comp claims. Then in February, the county agreed to hire an independent expert to inspect the facility.
how many more people have to get this before somebody does something about it?
Deputy Salcido is in remission and no longer works at the substation. He's increasingly anxious for immediate action to protect the 236 employees who work here.
I just don't want it to happen to other people, especially the people that I work with.
Alameda County has taken several calls from 2 investigators, even promised to get back with us, but so far no one has addressed our immediate questions. In California, there is a cancer presumption law. That means police officers can get compensation, but only if they can show a link between their cancer diagnosis and a known chemical exposure at work. And at this point, we don't know what exactly is in that building or in the air there.
Yeah, like Deputy Salcido said, you know, how many people have to go through this before something happens? So what is the next step here?
The next step is they are putting this out to bid. They want to get that independent person to come in and test the air. The problem is both OSHA and the county are kind of dragging their feet in the deputies' minds because they've been going at this since September, and now it's May, and we still have not had that air, the water, the walls, all that stuff that they want done tested.
What is their explanation for taking so long?
Well, at this point, they haven't really answered our questions as to what's going on, and they're still standing behind the fact that they test every year. But you still need to show that you want to try to help these people and get some answers for them. At least let us know whether or not it is the building contributing to these cases of cancer.
Brooks, thank you.
Thanks,
You're welcome.
Brooks.